Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a question that should stir something deep inside you. How many times have you told yourself, tomorrow I'll start, tomorrow I'll change, tomorrow I'll build the life I want, and yet tomorrow never seems to come? Let me tell you something. If you're waiting for perfect timing, if you're waiting for someone else to come and rescue you, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. The truth is, nobody is coming to do it for you. If you want it, if you truly desire it, you've got to push yourself and make it happen. Imagine for a moment that everything you've ever dreamed of, financial freedom, deep fulfillment, influence, impact, the lifestyle you've pictured in your heart was standing on the other side of a locked door. And imagine the key to that door isn't talent, it isn't luck, it isn't even connections. It's your willingness to endure discomfort for a season so you can grow into the version of yourself that can actually handle that level of blessing. That is the reality of life. Discomfort is the currency of growth. If you want to get to the next level, you have to be willing to pay the price. And that price is often doing the thing that feels hard, the thing that stretches you, the thing that forces you to become more than you were yesterday. Think about a seed planted in the ground. It doesn't break open in comfort. It breaks in the dark, in the pressure of the soil, where it feels isolated and buried. That breaking is uncomfortable, but without it, the seed never becomes a tree. You and I are the same way. The parts of your life where you feel buried, pressed, and stretched are often the exact conditions where your greatness is trying to break forth. But here's the hook. You can either embrace that discomfort and push through it, or you can retreat into comfort and remain stuck at the same level for the rest of your life. The choice is yours, and it's a choice you face every single day. Discomfort shows up in different forms. It might be the discomfort of waking up earlier than your body wants to, the discomfort of saying no to instant gratification, the discomfort of investing money into your growth instead of wasting it on things that don't matter, the discomfort of facing criticism when you step out to do something different. But every one of those moments is an invitation. It's life asking you, do you want the growth or do you want the comfort? Because you can't have both. Comfort keeps you where you are. Growth pulls you into who you were designed to become. Here's what's fascinating. Once you lean into discomfort long enough, it stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like progress. When you go to the gym the first time, your muscles ache. You feel weak. It's uncomfortable. But after weeks of pushing yourself through that pain, what felt impossible starts to feel normal, and eventually it feels powerful. That's the transformation discomfort offers. If you're willing to keep showing up when it's hard. Every champion you admire, every wealthy person who built an empire, every leader who made an impact, they all share one thing in common. They made friends with discomfort. They treated it not as an enemy, but as evidence that they were growing. The truth is, comfort zones don't produce breakthroughs. Nothing significant has ever been created inside a comfort zone. The plane was not invented in comfort. The light bulb was not discovered in comfort. Businesses, movements, revolutions, they were all born in moments of pressure, risk, uncertainty, and discomfort. The people who changed history weren't necessarily the smartest or the most resourced. They were simply willing to endure what others avoided. That's why their names are remembered while the comfortable fade into obscurity. Now, ask yourself, where in your life are you choosing comfort when you should be choosing growth? Are you avoiding the difficult conversation because it's uncomfortable, even though it could unlock healing or opportunity? Are you stuck in a job you hate because the idea of starting something new feels too uncomfortable? Are you delaying your health goals because the discipline feels like too much to handle? Every excuse you give yourself is a comfort blanket that keeps you warm today, but robs you of tomorrow. The people who win are the people who decide that discomfort today is worth the reward tomorrow. The hook here is simple but powerful. If it doesn't challenge you, it cannot change you. Stop expecting growth to feel good. Stop expecting breakthroughs to arrive wrapped in ease. They will always arrive wrapped in resistance. And when you understand that, you stop running from discomfort and start running toward it, knowing it is the toll gate to your destiny. You begin to see every hard thing not as a roadblock, but as proof that you're on the right path. And when you live with that mindset, you separate yourself from the crowd, because most people will always choose easy. You, on the other hand, will choose the discomfort that makes you unstoppable. Every single person has a list of reasons why they haven't yet achieved what they say they want. The reasons sound sophisticated, they sound logical, they even sound believable when spoken out loud. But if you strip away all the layers, what you'll find is that those reasons are nothing more than polished excuses. And excuses never move you forward. Action does. The truth is simple. Action beats excuses every single time. You can justify, rationalize, and explain away your lack of progress for as long as you want. But at the end of the day, results only come to those who move, who execute, who do something, even when they don't feel like it. Let me give you the hook that might just shake you awake. Life doesn't pay you for what you intended to do. It pays you for what you actually did. Your good intentions don't create wealth. Your carefully crafted excuses don't produce health. Your reasons don't build relationships. Only action has the power to take the invisible idea in your head and transform it into visible reality. Every single breakthrough you are praying for is waiting on you to step out and take the first move. The door is already unlocked, but it won't open until you push it. Here's the problem most people face. They're waiting for the perfect time. They want to start the business when the economy is just right. They want to begin the fitness journey when their schedule clears up. They want to build their dreams when they have more money, more support, more knowledge. But perfection is an illusion. If you're waiting for the perfect conditions, you'll still be waiting 10 years from now. What you need is not the absence of obstacles. What you need is the courage to move in spite of them. The longer you hesitate, the stronger your excuses become, and the weaker your belief in yourself grows. You've got to understand this principle: motion creates emotion. Too many people are sitting around waiting to feel motivated. But motivation doesn't precede action. It follows it. Once you take the step, once you begin moving, your energy shifts, your confidence grows, and suddenly you feel like doing more. Think about it like this: a car sitting idle in the driveway is harder to steer than a car already in motion. Your life works the same way. Get moving, and you'll find it easier to keep moving. That's why small actions matter so much. They break the inertia that excuses try to keep you trapped in. And let's be real, excuses will always be there. You'll always have a reason why it's not the right time, why you're not ready, why you should wait. But the people who win are the ones who refuse to let those excuses dictate their destiny. They act in the face of fear. They act in the face of doubt. They act when nobody else believes in them. And because of that, they achieve what most people only dream about. Every success story you admire has one common denominator: someone took action. They didn't wait until they had everything figured out. They didn't wait until they had a foolproof plan. They started with what they had, where they were, and they figured the rest out along the way. Action is the ultimate teacher, far more effective than planning, worrying, or waiting. You learn more from one step forward than from 1,000 hours of hesitation. So let me ask you this: what have you been putting off? What dream has been sitting on the shelf collecting dust while you perfect your excuses? What could your life look like if instead of explaining why you can't, you simply asked yourself, what's the next step I can take right now? That one question has the power to dismantle every excuse and replace it with forward momentum. Here's the hook: you cannot forget success does not belong to the person with the best reasons. It belongs to the person with the boldest actions. Stop rehearsing your excuses. Stop telling yourself stories about why you can't. None of that is serving you. Start moving. Start building. Start doing. Because action beats excuses every single time, and the momentum is one of the most underestimated forces in human achievement. People often imagine success as one giant leap, a dramatic breakthrough that changes everything overnight. But the reality is that most extraordinary outcomes are the result of small, consistent actions compounded over time. The power isn't in doing everything at once. It's in doing something every single day. Small steps, taken with discipline and consistency, create massive momentum that eventually carries you to levels you once thought were impossible. Think about the way a snowball works. At first, it's tiny, fragile, easily broken apart. But roll it long enough, and it begins to grow larger, heavier, unstoppable. Your life operates the same way. The first step may seem insignificant. The progress may look slow, but every action compounds. What feels small today becomes unstoppable tomorrow. And here's the hook. You don't need to see the whole staircase to climb it. You only need to take the next step. Momentum builds when you move, and once it starts working for you, it becomes one of your greatest allies. The problem is that most people underestimate the value of the little things. They dismiss the power of a single hour spent on a dream the significance of choosing water over soda, the impact of reading 10 pages of a book, the benefit of making one extra sales call. They tell themselves, this won't matter. But that's where they're wrong. The small things matter more than the big things because they create habits, and habits shape your future. Every great business was built on small steps. Every great body was shaped by small, consistent choices. Every great relationship was nurtured through small daily acts of love and attention. Greatness isn't hidden in massive leaps. It's hidden in the discipline of small, intentional steps. And here's where the real secret lies. Momentum works both ways. Just as small positive actions compound into progress, small negative actions compound into decline. Missing one day may not hurt you, but missing 10 creates a habit of quitting. Spending a little beyond your means may not destroy you today, but repeat it long enough and you create a financial hole you can't climb out of. Every step you take is either moving you closer to your destiny or further away from it. There is no neutral. Momentum is always working. You decide the direction. When you start, it will feel slow. That's the hardest part. People get discouraged when they don't see instant results. They give up too soon. Forgetting that momentum is like pushing a heavy flywheel. It takes tremendous effort at first, but once it starts spinning, the very force of its motion begins to work in your favor. That's why persistence is so critical. You might not see change in the first week, but stay consistent, and one day you'll look back and realize you've built unstoppable force. Every master you admire started with a single step. The speaker who commands arenas once stumbled through their first speech. The entrepreneur running a multi-million-dollar business once struggled to land their first customer. The athlete who dominates on the field once fumbled in practice. What separated them from the crowd wasn't talent. It was consistency. They kept showing up. They kept taking steps, no matter how small. And eventually, momentum took over and carried them further than they could have ever gone on sheer willpower alone. So here's the hook I want to drive into your heart. Don't despise small beginnings, because small beginnings are the birthplace of great destinies. Your life won't transform because of what you occasionally do. It will transform because of what you consistently do. Every small step is a seed planted, and if you keep watering those seeds with persistence, they will grow into a harvest you can't even imagine right now. Momentum is real, and it's waiting for you to create it. All you need to do is start and then keep going, step after step, day after day, until the compound effect of your actions makes success inevitable. The most powerful engine driving your life is not your talent, not your background, not even your resources. It is your mindset. The way you think sets the boundaries for what you can or cannot achieve. If your mind is small, your world will be small. If your mind is expansive, your opportunities multiply. This is why two people can face the same circumstances, and one will see a dead end while the other sees a doorway. The difference is not in the situation, it's in the mindset. And here's the truth that most people miss. Before success ever shows up in your bank account, in your business, or in your relationships, It must first be established in your mind. Your mindset determines your motion. If you believe you can't, your brain will immediately begin searching for reasons to confirm that belief. If you believe you can, your brain will begin scanning for opportunities, solutions, and strategies to make it happen. It's called the reticular activating system. Your mind filters reality based on what you already believe. That means your beliefs are like the operating system of your life. If the code is negative, full of doubt and fear, you'll crash every time you try to run something new. But if the code is positive, focused, and full of expectancy, your life will begin to expand in ways that seem almost supernatural. Here's the hook. Your external results are a reflection of your internal thinking. You can't outperform the picture you have of yourself in your mind. If you see yourself as average, you'll behave in average ways and you'll create average results. If you see yourself as someone capable, worthy, and destined for greatness, your behavior will align with that belief, and your results will rise to meet it. This is why the battle for success is always won or lost in the mind long before it ever plays out in the real world. Now, let's be clear, mindset is not about empty positive thinking or pretending problems don't exist. Mindset is about choosing the meaning you assign to events. When challenges come, do you see them as proof that you're not capable, or do you see them as training that's building your strength? When rejection happens, do you internalize it as a reflection of your value, or do you interpret it as redirection towards something better? The meaning you attach to life's moments will either push you forward or keep you stuck. Successful people have simply trained themselves to interpret obstacles as opportunities, and in doing so, they keep moving while others quit. Think about a thermostat. If the temperature in a room drops, the thermostat doesn't panic. It simply activates to bring the environment back to the set level. Your mindset functions the same way. If your internal setting is low, no matter how many opportunities come, you'll sabotage them to match your belief. But if your internal setting is high, no matter how many setbacks come, you'll rise back up because you are programmed to operate at that level. The question is, what is your setting? What do you truly believe about yourself, about what's possible about your future? Because your beliefs are quietly dictating every action you take. The hook here is that transformation doesn't start with doing more. It starts with thinking differently. When you elevate your mindset, you elevate your actions. And when you elevate your actions, you elevate your results. This is why wealthy people can lose everything and rebuild it quickly. Their mindset is calibrated for abundance and problem solving. On the other hand, someone with a poverty mindset can win the lottery and lose it all within years because their thinking cannot sustain their new reality. Mindset isn't a luxury, it's the foundation. So if you want to change your life, begin by changing your mind. Feed it with possibilities instead of limitations. Surround yourself with people who expand your vision instead of shrinking it. Guard your thoughts like treasure, because they are. Every belief you entertain is either an investment in your future or a debt you'll eventually have to pay. Remember this, The distance between where you are and where you want to be is not measured in miles, it's measured in mindset. And the moment you decide to expand your thinking is the moment you put yourself on the path to expand your life. There is a kind of greatness that cannot be faked, a strength that cannot be borrowed, and a character that cannot be purchased. It is forged in the unseen moments when no one is clapping, no one is congratulating you, and no one is paying attention. Character is built in the dark, and that's why the dark seasons of your life are not punishment. They are preparation. The spotlight reveals your skill, but the shadows reveal your substance. What you do when nobody's watching is who you really are, and it is those private disciplines that eventually explode into public victories. It's easy to perform when there's audience. It's easy to show up strong when people are applauding. But what about those times when the room is empty, when the work feels heavy, when there's no recognition, no reward, no visible progress? That's where most people quit. That's where excuses multiply. But here's the hook. It's also where champions are born. Because if you can be faithful in the dark, you will be unstoppable in the light. The discipline you practice when it seems pointless becomes the very fuel that propels you when opportunity finally knocks. Think about an athlete training before dawn, long before the cameras show up. The sweat, the pain, the endless repetition. It doesn't look glamorous, but it's building something that will one day amaze the crowd. Think about a musician practicing scales for hours in solitude. Nobody sees it, nobody cheers for it, yet that hidden consistency becomes the brilliance that fills arenas. Life works exactly the same way for you. The invisible hours matter far more than the visible ones. The question is, what are you doing with them? There's a dangerous illusion in our world today, the illusion of instant success. Social media shows the highlight reels, the victories, the accolades, but it hides the grind, the tears, the lonely nights of work and doubt. And because people only see the glory, they forget about the story. They want the reward without the discipline, the spotlight without the shadows, the success without the sacrifice. But the universe doesn't work that way. If you skip the dark, you sabotage the light. The seasons of obscurity are where your foundation is laid. And if your foundation isn't solid, the weight of success will crush you instead of elevate you. Here's the hook that may sting, but will set you free. Who you are when nobody's watching determines who you'll be when everybody is watching. If you cut corners in private, it will eventually show in public. If you compromise in the dark, you'll collapse in the light. But if you commit yourself to excellence when nobody demands it, if you stay consistent when nobody rewards it, the day will come when your integrity will speak louder than your words, and your results will silence your critics. Character is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You will stumble, you will get tired, you will have days when you don't feel like pushing forward. But those are the very days that matter most. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, every time you choose integrity over shortcuts, every time you choose to stay the course when quitting would be easier, you are depositing into the bank of character. And when the time comes for your breakthrough, that account will be full, ready to sustain you at levels most people never reach. So ask yourself, what are you building in the dark? Are you preparing yourself for the opportunities you say you want? Or are you waiting until the spotlight shows up to get serious? Because by then, it will be too late. The light will only amplify what you have already practiced in the shadows. That's why the greatest gift you can give yourself is the commitment to do the hard, unseen work, day after day, even when it feels like nobody cares. Because the truth is, those hidden investments always come back, multiplied in ways you cannot even imagine right now. And here's the final hook I'll leave you with: greatness isn't built in front of crowds. It's revealed there. It's built in the quiet, lonely, unseen hours when you decide to keep going anyway. That's where strength is forged. That's where character is born. That's where destiny is shaped. The dark is not your enemy. It is your training ground. And if you can win there, nothing can stop you when the light finally finds you. Destiny does not belong to the talented alone, nor does it favor the lucky, the privileged, or the perfectly positioned. Destiny belongs to the determined. The people who rise, the ones who defy the odds, are not always the ones who had the best start, the most resources, or the smoothest path. They are the ones who refuse to give up, the ones who decided that no matter how many times life knocked them down, they would get back up again. Determination is the great equalizer. It is the fire that consumes obstacles, the fuel that keeps you moving when your strength is gone, and the anchor that holds you steady when storms threaten to tear everything apart. Here's the hook you must understand. Life will test your resolve before it rewards your dream. Every goal worth pursuing comes with resistance. And that resistance is not there to destroy you. It is there to prove how badly you want it. Determination is what separates those who dabble from those who dominate. The dabblers quit when it gets inconvenient, but the determined keep pressing, keep climbing, keep digging until the door finally opens. And when it does, the world calls them lucky. But in reality, luck had very little to do with it. Think about history's great achievers. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, but he was determined to keep going until he found a solution. Nelson Mandela endured 27 years in prison, yet he remained determined to see his nation free, and his determination transformed not just his life, but the lives of millions. Every great story has one common thread. The character was determined enough to endure what others would not. That determination carved their names into history. Most people don't miss destiny because they aren't capable. They miss it because they aren't committed. They flirt with their dreams. They pursue them only when it's convenient, and the moment difficulty arises, they retreat to comfort. But determination refuses to negotiate with obstacles. Determination says, I may not be the smartest, the strongest, or the most connected, but I will outlast you. I will persist until you have no choice but to yield. And that kind of resolve is unstoppable. Here's the hook that might shift your perspective. The gap between average and extraordinary is not talent, it's determination. Everyone gets tired. Everyone faces setbacks. Everyone has moments of doubt. The ones who cross the finish line are the ones who kept moving anyway. Determination is not glamorous. It's not flashy. It often looks like long nights, early mornings, tears, sacrifices, and perseverance that nobody claps for. But when the breakthrough finally arrives, all of that hidden grit becomes visible in a single shining moment of victory. Ask yourself, how determined are you to see your dream through? Are you willing to pay the price, even when it's uncomfortable? Are you willing to keep moving when the applause stops, when the support disappears, when the path feels endless? Because that's what determination demands. It is not a one-time decision, it is a daily choice. Every morning, you decide again that no matter what comes, you will not quit. And every time you make that choice, you move one step closer to the life you've been called to live. Destiny is not something you stumble into. It's something you pursue relentlessly. It belongs to those who decide that failure is not final, that setbacks are setups, and that obstacles are simply opportunities in disguise. It belongs to those who are so determined that even life itself cannot shake their commitment. And when you become that person, doors will open, opportunities will appear, and people will look at you in amazement, calling you unstoppable. But deep down, you'll know the truth. You didn't get there because it was easy. You got there because you were determined. Here's the final hook: talent may get you noticed, but determination will make you remembered. Destiny bows to the person who refuses to bow to difficulty. And if you choose determination, if you choose persistence over quitting, if you choose to keep pressing no matter the cost, you will make it, not because the path was smooth, but because your resolve was stronger than the resistance. That is the power of being determined, and that is why destiny belongs to the determined.